We tried hybrid training. Here's what happens. So two bodybuilders walk onto a running track. Now that kind of sounds like the beginning of a joke, right? For many people, it is. If you're a runner, the joke is most likely that bodybuilders are slow, clumsy, uncoordinated, and lacking in stamina. If you're a bodybuilder, it may be the opposite. You look at runners as skinny, frail, and the antithesis of your aesthetic goals. With those persistent stereotypes, it's easy to see how these two sports would be in conflict with one another, and often are, but there are massive benefits in combining the two. This approach is often called hybrid training. Hybrid training is not a new concept. In fact, it's been around for centuries. The ancient Greeks were known for training their soldiers in a variety of athletic disciplines to prepare them for battle. In modern times, hybrid training has helped to launch multiple sports, such as CrossFit and mixed martial arts. For bodybuilders, the benefits of adding cardiovascular activity such as running can be huge. These benefits include fast-twitch muscle fiber recruitment, hormonal response, explosive strength, high-calorie expenditure, and more. For runners, the benefits of bodybuilding includes reduced injury risk, improved running form, and better bone density. As athletes, we are always looking to better ourselves. And in this video, that's exactly what me and my brother Brandon want to do. But there's going to be a massive challenge for us to overcome in the process. Namely, how do we not only fit bodybuilding and running into our already busy schedules, but also how do we put together a routine so that our running and lifting won't individually suffer, but actually benefit from one another? It's going to be one of the harder challenges we've ever done, and it begins now.
It's the first day, and we're gonna have our running form evaluated. But before we head out, we need the proper gear. And with running, shoes are everything. As bigger dudes, both of us tipping the scale around 220 pounds, we need something to help cushion our feet against the track. And the Brooks Glycerin Stealth Fit 21s are the perfect piece of equipment for the job, helping to reduce energy expenditure with their nitrogen-infused cushioning. The foam reacts quickly to impact, providing a more responsive feel underfoot. Now this helps to make the running experience more enjoyable with weightless, soft landings. And for two buff dudes, the Brooks Glycerin Stealth Fit 21s couldn't be a better match, delivering everything we need and more. Plus, they look cool as hell. And I gotta be honest, it's not only about performing, it's also about looking good. So, it's time to get running.
Practice makes perfect is a popular quote, but another variation we prefer is practice makes permanent. And in regards to running, for the longest time, I thought that in order to get better at running, you just ran more. But that would be a little bit like going to the gym with the goal of just lifting more, neglecting proper form and periodization. So to better understand running and what things we can do in order to become better runners, we met up with Christian, an excellent mid-distance runner and a coach at Boss Sports Performance. Christian had us perform a multitude of mobility drills and assessments, in addition to giving us tons of great advice and some helpful criticism in regards to what we could be doing to become more efficient hybrid athletes.
Just out of curiosity, what are some of the things that drive how you run? Heavy? Okay. What puts us forward is pushing into the ground. Okay, so I'm not trying to lift my legs up faster. I'm trying to push my foot and my whole body into the ground harder and quicker. The more body weight you got, the harder you're gonna have to push.
Okay.
Right? Some of the world's greatest marathoners, maybe a $130, $140 maybe. So relative to your body weight, you're gonna have to put a lot more force into the ground a lot quicker to effectively push off and have the same return.
And it almost immediately makes me feel like I am a little bit of a lazy runner because I'm not attacking the ground.
Right, you are trying to put your foot down quicker and faster to elicit that springy total body effect.
With our evaluation coming to a close, there were some key points that really stood out that we needed to work on. As our leading foot is about to hit the ground, it's most beneficial to have our shin as vertical as possible as our foot strikes just below the center of mass of our body. Now this will ensure energy conservation by helping to maintain our forward momentum. But we both find out we have a longer stride, which makes us strike our heel in front of us, which in turn slightly takes away our momentum and makes us work harder. And after thousands of steps, this adds up very quickly. It also doesn't help that we're reining in close to 100 pounds more than most professional runners, which is a huge hindrance. Now, after a decade of lifting weights, we realize form is everything, and running is no different. So we're ready to take this newfound knowledge, work on our form, and start putting in the reps. Or in this case, putting in the steps. So as with any goal, you need to lay out a plan, and it's our goal to be hybrid athletes, so we need to program accordingly. Now this can be a bit tricky because the goal is to balance weightlifting and running at the same time, and the problem can be that one might begin to cannibalize the results of the other if you're not careful. Now that's why we plan on backing off of our normal 5-day-a-week workout routine to just 4 days a week. We'll be hitting the weights on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And on Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday, we'll be focusing on our running. Now, the issue we'll be facing is soreness from our workouts affecting our running days, especially since we're incorporating progressive overload, which is essentially increasing our weights on our exercises each week for added strength. Now, in turn, we'll be doing the same for our running, working at a faster pace and longer runs to increase our cardiovascular strength and endurance. Now, some of the ways we'll be helping our recovery is implementing lots of mobility, stretching, nutrition, hydration, and sleep. If we feel like our body isn't responding well to this routine, we'll make small adjustments. And an easy way to understand if your body is responding in a positive or negative way is just to log your weights and runs each day and take notes on how you feel. Now, you're probably thinking this is a lot of work, and I'm not gonna lie, lining all this out seems pretty daunting, but as we all know, hard work pays off.
Something I like to tell as many people as I can is that my lifting career finally came into focus once I started paying attention to what I ate. Now, like everything in life, your personal results may vary, but here's a quick rundown on how I changed my diet in order to get its full potential. I ate more. For the longest period of time, I starved myself of carbohydrates and fats, thinking that it'd be the fast track to getting lean. And it worked to a certain extent, yes, but it deprived me of a lot of my favorite food, so that when I finally allowed myself to partake in eating my favorite foods, I'd eat way too much of them. And especially when training in this hybrid athlete style, having a more well-rounded, larger diet keeps me better fueled, and the urge to cheat is greatly reduced. When you talk about bodybuilding, running, or hybrid training, it's oftentimes highlighting their physical benefits. What's your 6-minute mile? What's your max deadlift? How many medals have you won? These are great goals, no doubt, but I want to talk more for a moment about how hybrid training has benefited me mentally, specifically in regards to creativity. A landmark study out of Stanford University found that creative output increased by a whopping 60% when participants were walking. And this data not only isn't a surprise to me, it's a reaffirmation of why I absolutely love walking and running. In fact, our entire social media identity was literally born while me and Brandon were running side by side on a pair of 2 treadmills a decade ago when we worked at a gym. We were at a crossroads in our life, and while getting in our cardio, we began to brainstorm how to merge our passions of fitness and filmmaking together. Millions of subscribers and hundreds of millions of views later, here we are, a result of hard work and consistency. And thankfully, the magic hasn't left. Whenever I'm feeling stressed, in need of an idea, or just want the physical benefits of running, I'll go out into the open air and 9 times out of 10, finish feeling physically exhausted but mentally stimulated. A combination I hope continues on for as long as I'm able to remain upright.
After all these years, you'd think it would become easier, but I have to say, it really doesn't. I still struggle. I still feel like I'm not doing enough, and sometimes I feel like quitting when I don't see the results as fast as I want to. And these are just the struggles I go through from my workouts alone. Now adding running into all that, it becomes a bit overwhelming. So one thing that has been helping me is to compartmentalize my training by programming and scheduling accordingly. When I'm in the gym, I stay focused on my lifting and following my current program. And when it comes to the days I run, I focus on perfecting my posture, foot strike, and pace. Now this has helped me lessen the overwhelming feeling and negative thoughts of wanting to quit. But all that doesn't necessarily make it any easier, it just makes it more doable. In the end, it all comes down to how much you put into it is what you'll get out of it. So I have to remind myself that getting through the struggle is what's making me a better version of myself, both physically and mentally. There's a quote I feel is relevant to hybrid training. A jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. Now that's basically how I feel about introducing hybrid training. It's a balancing act between 2 different areas of fitness, and since you're splitting your time and effort into 2 different areas, you have to come to terms. You might not master bodybuilding, you might not master running, but you will be more efficient in both areas. And it comes down to being more well-rounded, and as I age, this is becoming more and more important to me. I of course want to look good, but I also want to feel good and know that the training I do is enhancing my body in more ways than just one. Over the years, I've always included some sort of cardio, but now I'm concentrating on being more deliberate with how and why I'm running and the way I'm fitting that in with my weightlifting. And so far, I am falling in love with how I've been feeling. Physically, I feel stronger and more efficient in both my weightlifting and running, and mentally, I feel stronger knowing I have what it takes to push myself to new heights.
Our goal of combining lifting weights and running into a hybrid form of training is finished.
I have to say, this experience has reminded me why I got into fitness in the first place, to better myself. It forced me to work outside my comfort zone and push myself in new ways.
And why I enjoy both lifting and running for completely different reasons. For lifting, beyond the health benefits, it's the pump. The feeling of being full, feeling strong, and challenging yourself to progressively overload your body. The camaraderie and brotherhood and the healthy competition. For running, beyond the physical benefits, is the fresh air. It's the endless sparks of creativity and a chance to get away from the noise. And the right shoes, like the Brooks Glycerin Stealth Fit 21s with its feeling of weightlessness, can further elevate your running experience, keeping you comfortable and focused on those creative breakthroughs.
Now sure, there's some negatives like the time and effort you have to put in, the difficulties trying to balance your schedule, but the positives far outweigh the negatives. I feel healthier, motivated, and go to sleep every night knowing I've accomplished something. So all in all, I would have to give hybrid training a big biceps flex of approval.
Hybrid training for me is an absolute necessity for not only the proper balance of anaerobic and aerobic training, but also to help create a more well-rounded, functional athlete. And that is why I am giving hybrid training a big buff dude's bicep flex of approval. Shit.